What is up, everybody, and welcome to yet another special edition of the Trainer Scoop podcast, rejoined by none other than my guy Hunter. If you're a longtime fan of the show, you know what today's all about. One of my favorite episodes that I do through the Olympia and the Arnold Classic. Hunter, thank you for joining me, man. How you been?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. I haven't talked to you in a little bit, but been trying to keep up with you on the socials. Looks like everything's going good.
Yes, sir. Yeah, doing well, dude. Some big changes for both of us, which we'll definitely want to talk about.
Hmm.
First of all, I'm seeing the shaker cup right over to your left. Show the camera. What is this? What do we got here?
Slight plug, slight plug.
Here we go. Got the branding on lock. Nice, man. Yeah, I think I saw maybe a post or a story about that. And you got the
Yeah.
shirt. So tell the people, man, what are the updates with the facility, with the brand, with the athletes? Looks like you've been making moves.
Yeah, no, so I mean, in the past, I've kind of worked with clients who are like coming off of like physical therapy, stuff like that. And I've always been passionate about obviously helping people that, are coming off of injury and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I was getting to the point where I felt like that was all that I was doing. So
Hmm.
I'm just kind of branching out a little bit more, targeting maybe a little bit more of a younger crowd, working with a couple of
Yeah.
athletes, and just kind of taking on some more people along those lines. And then obviously, like with the Arnold coming up, Bullfrog Nutrition, right, in
Mm-hmm.
Columbus. Yeah,
Nice.
so
Yeah.
I'm going to be a part of their pre-Arnold event coming up here on Thursday. That'll be from
Nice.
5 to 8, and then
What are they doing?
yeah. So typically they'll have like I don't know, probably like 12 to 15 like pro athletes come in. I know this year, like guy's sister Nino's coming in, Sergio Oliva
Mm-hmm.
Jr. Um, I can't remember her name at the moment. Drea Shaw, the
Mm-hmm.
Miss Olympia, she'll
Yeah.
be there.
Nice.
But yeah, it's like a pretty heavy hitter lineup. So we'll have a booth out there, and that's kind of like one of the reasons I've been getting more merch, stuff like that, more events coming up, and obviously with the
Hell yeah.
spring, being able to do that a little bit more and getting out of this damn cold weather. So
Dude, it's gonna be nice. And I like the shirts. They look like they
appreciate it.
show off the arms. You
Oh
got
yeah,
the
you got to have the tight fit here, a little bit
yes,
loose on the
sir.
body.
There we go. Nice, man. That's awesome. Love to see that you're
Thank you, I
expanding
appreciate
it.
it.
Dude, because it was what? Was it about a year ago that we were talking about launching the studio?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, right around a year because that was when I bought the business was
Mm-hmm.
um, February 15th, I think,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
last year. So yeah.
Nice. That's awesome, bro. It's been growing for you. It looks great.
Mhm.
Real quick, you have pictures of it, right?
Um, there's I don't know. I need to get a little bit better about posting it on, social media and stuff like that.
Right.
But
Dude.
yeah, we do have a page.
I'll show the front desk because I know you got some of it. No, that's what it was I remember on one of the podcasts, maybe for the Olympia,
Hmm.
you gave us a little tour. Like you kind of walked it
That's
around a
what it
little bit.
was. Yeah. Yeah, I'm at the point right now where like I keep trying to add like little pieces here and there, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's a big enough space, but I'm also thinking like, okay, do I actually need this piece or do I want it? Like
Yeah.
that's the difference of like I know I would use it, but like do my clients need it? Probably not. Um, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so just kind of adding pieces here and there,
Yeah, yeah.
I every piece that I get, I'm like, okay, like that'll be the last one. And then like, freaking a month later you're like, well, this would look pretty good in there or like
Right. So what
so
all have you added and like where does it fit in the space?
so initially out of the gate, it was just like very basic dumbbell, barbell, a couple cables, and the TRX. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we put the power rack in there. Dude, the most expensive thing I own is that damn bench. That thing was
Yeah.
500. That thing was
Is that
five
from
hundred
Rogue?
bucks. Yeah,
Whew.
and
Yeah, those are terrible.
yeah, I mean, it'll last longer than I will probably. Like it'll outlive me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just like damn. And then we added in like a rower, like the
Nice.
erg
Nice.
rowers, and then I ordered dumbbells. So we have dumbbells up to like 45 now because initially it was
Mm-hmm.
just like up to 25 because I didn't really have anybody that needed anything more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then like some more attachments for like the cables. We got
Nice.
like one of those giant battle ropes, and
Nice.
this is where like freaking Amazon, they know me. They keep sending me like little gift cards. It's like $35 here, and I'm like,
Oh, damn.
I know. I'm
They're
like,
like
damn.
they're like those fucking girls at Vegas coming around and
Yeah,
bringing you drinks
exactly,
and shit.
exactly. And I'm like, I don't need it, but yeah, I'll buy it.
There we go.
So yeah, just kind of adding pieces here and there. I think like the
Mm-hmm.
next thing, if I were to add anything, is I want to get some attachments that go off of the rack, like a leg extension attachment,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
a like set of jammer arms. I think would be
Mm-hmm.
really beneficial because you can use
Nice.
those as like an incline press or something like that. So.
Yeah, dude. Nice. Yeah, man. It's like that's what it's all about. Just taking your time, gradually adding pieces.
Hmm.
I don't know. And I mean, this might be important to hit on real quick because it is called the trainer scoop. Like,
Hmm.
did you take a loan out for the business or were you just kind of like building as you go? What's your strategy there?
No, so I was just kind of building as I went.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily with me, I got kind of lucky in a sense because the guy that I bought the business from, like, you know, thankfully he sold it to me, but it was like he gave it to me for almost nothing. Like
Right.
it was kind of one of those things where I was like, "Well, what are you gonna do with the equipment?" And he was like, "Well, I don't know." And he was
Yeah.
like, "I'll give it to you for, this much." I'm like, "That's nothing, man." Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know how expensive equipment can get. Like, it's insane, especially after, 2020 shutdown. Like, prices are nuts. But
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I mean, luckily I had enough money saved up, and then another nice thing too was when he gave me the business, I already had a base of clients, so it wasn't like I was
Yeah.
starting from zero. And that to me was like the biggest thing. It's like, because if you start your own thing, like you're already taking a bit of a risk. But if you start your
Mm-hmm.
own thing and you don't have anybody there yet, like not only are you putting all this money into this, you also don't have anything coming in. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
like a big thing was just like, okay, well, this will at least get me started. And then, I'm not going to go beyond my means as far as equipment goes. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was just kind of the big thing was like, okay, like make sure, get what you can from him. And then if you need to add pieces here and there, we can do that. And then the last thing that I really tried to focus on is like understanding that my clients are not going to be like just beating the hell out of this equipment. Like
Right.
I don't need a commercial grade,
Yeah.
chest fly or something like that. Like because
Right.
it's not like I'm gonna have 45 people using it in a day. I'm gonna have
Mm-hmm.
five. So.
Yeah. Dude, that's a lot of green flags, business owner green flags we got there. A lot
Mm,
of good things to kind of highlight on real quick here. So, coming from a similar spot, maybe back in 2021 when I did a similar thing here, I did take out a loan for the studio that I started. The big thing
mm,
for me was, and I wish I would have taken 6 months to build up a client base in the area, and then brought them over. That's a great thing for anybody thinking about opening up their own business, open up their own personal training business specifically. Make sure you have the money coming in when you're starting because you might be able to do it at a relatively low cost. You got the stuff for relatively cheap. I had a very inexpensive loan and rent set up, but at the same time, this is how you make money, and that has to come in for you to live. So
mm,
it's definitely good to take your time. You might have all the passion and energy in the world behind it, but if you don't have a plan that's actually proving that it can work before you dive in, that's where I hit some hiccups, and that's where I think I'm loving what I'm hearing in terms of how it's going, dude. So love
mm.
to see it.
Yeah, and one last thing I would also add to that is like I know initially when I was looking for spaces, I was looking for something like, 2,500 square feet, 3,000 square feet, because I wanted to put like an actual shit ton of equipment in there.
Yeah.
But then
How many square feet is this setup?
it's probably like 1,200.
Yeah.
But there's also like a little office in the back, so that takes a little bit of a chunk out of it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but honestly, I wouldn't want anything bigger because it's like, at least starting out, the bigger it is, you kind of have to fill it with equipment. Otherwise, it's going to look empty. And
Right.
like we touched on, like equipment is so expensive. Like you can dig yourself into a hole with that fast. So,
Yeah.
I'm glad that I have the space that I have, and I'll continue to use that space until I outgrow it, and then if I need to, then we'll move. But at this point, it's like there's no sense in having a 4,000 square foot place that
Right. Right.
one, your rent's going to be outlandish, and then
Yeah.
adding equipment in there, you have to make it look busy. Like you can't just have it
Yeah.
be like a squat rack and a cable station in this 4,000
Right.
square foot place. Yeah, that's one big thing that I would also keep in mind is like you don't need that much space to start.
Yeah. Dude, I was going back to listen to a podcast from Elite FTS. Man, when was that? Maybe even this week. It was from like the stories of Westside Barbell,
Yeah,
and from everything I've heard, like I know this lady. Man, I got to connect you with her. Maybe even at the Arnold, because this
for
could be
sure.
a good way to get equipment down the line. Because I don't know if you've ever heard of Lexan Extreme in Grove City.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah, a lot of the guys they always have that powerlifting meet outside of the Arnold at the Expo, like in the hall. So
Yeah.
that's where you see like all the multiply powerlifting. So be on the lookout for them. But yeah, dude, I'll connect you with Mariah, and yeah, she's a great person to know. She's a friend of my mom's, surprisingly, from Marysville, and then she started lifting with Louis Simmons in his garage before they started West Side. Um, she ended up leaving that because she was like, yeah, Louis is like, God bless him, but the more we kind of hear, it's like, oh, he was just like, maybe the training wasn't always like the best, but like just the fucking dedication, buy-in, and
Oh yeah,
like the
he's
coach that he was
just
like, where,
insanely passionate. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I was listening. Dave Tate went to West Side when it was on Demarest, and then it moved to another place, and then it moved to like their industrial place where they're at now. But
Hmm.
like the Demarest spot was 800 square feet, and that's when like Chuck Vogelpool, Matt Dimmel, like these big motherfuckers were in there
Hmm.
lifting big weight, and like you could do a lot with a small amount of space.
Oh
So
yeah,
that's where I'll
for
leave it
sure.
here for the studio, man. But dude, keep it going. Seriously, if anybody is listening to this and they need personal training, or just like a good spot to pursue your goals with Hunter, I think that's going to be a great. It's going to keep growing, man, because I feel like it's grown since last
Hmm.
year,
For sure.
since the Olympia even, and it's going to keep growing, dude. So love to see it.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir, dude. So with that being said, we are here. Oh, you got that grape ghost? Oh, buddy, that's the best one right there.
It 100% is. Every time I see him, I'm like stocking up.
Dude, what if Ghost is at the Arnold this year? I'll be fucking lit off that.
Yeah. What do
I
they
don't think
usually
they ever
have?
have been.
No, it's usually Rain and Celsius is
Rain.
the two main ones,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Man, like back in the day, what was it? Years ago, Bang would have big booths,
Bang.
but
Yeah.
they've kind of fallen out of the spotlight. So,
They have. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about them in forever.
yeah, dude. Man, that's crazy to think we're already a week out from the Arnold. So, with that being said, for those who don't know what the Arnold is, real quick, we'll hit that. The Arnold is, I'd say, in terms of the bodybuilding show, probably the second most prestigious show, maybe
Hmm.
contentious for the first out there, but a
Hmm.
huge deal in the bodybuilding community for the show. And then hit on the expo, Hunter, because I see you every year at the expo. You're sending people over to say what's up. And I know you are about that expo life with the Arnold. So tell the people what is the Arnold Classic Expo exactly?
The Arnold Classic Expo is just a huge congregation of all things fitness under one roof. So you'll have strongman, powerlifting, freaking like fencing. You'll have what are the medieval like fighting
Yeah,
championship things that they do? That stuff's crazy, but it's just like it's an all-encompassing, just ginormous hall of fitness, and there's like something for everybody. And then obviously, a big part of it is businesses trying to use it as an advertisement. So
yeah,
you'll have booths upon booths upon booths, some that'll be literally a 6 foot table, and then others it'll be just a giant overdone, like just I don't even know what you would call it. It's insane. Like I
yeah.
remember, I think it was Rise last year had like a 3 story like thing where you could like walk up and meet some of the influencers and stuff like that. But it goes from like the smallest little company to the most, prestigious supplement company you can find. And,
Yeah.
it's a good spot to kind of, one, see if there is something that maybe you're not sure about that you might like in fitness, because like there's just so many different things. And then two,
Hmm.
it's kind of cool to see like all the people that you see through the screen. So
Yeah.
it's like, one thing I've always talked about with people is like the fitness community is so funny because it's like you can DM these people and they'll respond. Like that's weird. Like if you DM Tom Brady, you're not going to hear shit back. But
Right.
like, there's a chance if you DM, Nick Walker or somebody, you might get a response. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy. So,
Yeah, dude. It is.
you get to kind of see these people in person, and then, really see what they're about. And, sometimes it's like you don't want to meet your heroes, but other times it
Right.
turns out, pretty good. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure, dude. Dude, I was thinking back to when I first started to attend the Arnold. So this would be, barring it would have been the 10th Arnold, but it'll be the 10th year since I started going to the Arnold,
Hmm.
because COVID shut it down there for 2020, and then 2021 they just did the show. But
Hmm.
dude, pretty crazy that when was your first Arnold?
Um, I don't remember the exact year, but I remember
Mm-hmm.
when I was really young, my dad and I would go. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I had to be like somewhere between like 8 and 11, something like
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
Um, but I was more interested at that time in like martial arts and stuff like that because I was into
Mm-hmm.
like,
Wait, didn't you say you got a sword there?
oh yeah, I got a sword there one time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was more interested in that side of things. And then it wasn't until I got to college, probably like 2017, 2018, when we started going
Mm-hmm.
again. And that's when it was like, oh, like this is insane from like a
Yeah.
fitness perspective, and like getting to meet all these people. And that was really when like Max Effort was kind of blowing up.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were following them, and they would always have a giant booth. I don't know if they are this year, but yeah, that was kind of
Yeah.
when that took off again. So
Yeah, that's what a time, man. I'll remember dude, the Corey Gregory and what was it? Old school gym. Yeah, that
yeah,
he had.
yeah.
Like they were like a big deal, man. And that was the thing. He was that dude back when I first went. And
Hmm.
maybe like the year after or that year, he had like the title sponsor booth, which was like a multi-story booth. And
Hmm.
yeah, and then they had their like beats and barbells or whatever it was called. They had like a
Yeah,
D-Day
yeah.
out there at 4 a.m. before the Arnold.
Hmm.
And yeah, man. So it's like for meatheads and for people that are passionate about fitness, it's like up there, man. It's one of the best weekends of the year. It's a huge like just meeting point for all types of fitness. And it's really
Hmm.
cool that it's really cool that we grew up so close to it being
Oh
in
yeah,
Ohio. So I'm looking forward to coming back. Are you going to be there every day? Or are you coming some days?
oh yeah. I'll be there every day. It's
Are
funny.
you
I
going
have
to the show?
I don't know if I'm gonna go to the show. If somebody can get me a decent ticket, then maybe, but
Yeah.
probably not. But yeah, it's funny. I was talking to my clients this week because obviously, like most of them, they have no clue about that, and we're like, just let you know, like next Friday we are gonna be closed, and they're just like, why? I'm like, because it's the Arnold Classic, and they're like, but
Mm-hmm.
like, who cares? I'm like, me,
This guy, the
like,
business owner,
like,
fuckers.
I'm like, this is my
That's funny.
weekend, like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. It's definitely a weekend that I'll always love. And yeah, I'll be there at Creapure's booth. So everybody
Hmm.
watching this, stop by, get some creatine. We got those little creatine candies and some creatine powder for you. So I always see
Hmm.
Hunter and people stopping by. It's weird, man. You just like meet people over the years that you see at the expo, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody out there. So you're gonna be there multiple days. It sounds like if you're shutting it down on Friday, huh?
Yeah, so the Thursday, like I said, we have the Bullfrog event, and then
Mm-hmm.
after that, I'm actually training with my coach, Dusty Hanshaw,
Nice, nice.
and it's funny because like we've been working together for almost 4 years, and
Yeah,
I see him at the Arnold and then at the Olympia, so only twice a year, but we've never actually trained together in person, so
nice,
I'm pretty excited for that, and then yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'll be there.
nice, man, nice. So I've seen you. You've been training at a few different gyms around town. You've been
Hmm.
at what's it called? Did they call it the Armory?
Yeah, so I was training at Metro in
Yeah.
Worthington, and it was good, but it's a 25-minute drive from my apartment. So it's like when
Mm-hmm.
I'm going there on the weekends, it's basically an hour out of my weekend,
Right.
on Saturday and Sunday. But the Armory is linked. I call them like, sister gyms. It's Worthington Pro, Grandview Pro, and then the Armory are all like owned
Oh,
by
I
owned by
didn't
the
know
same
that.
people. Yeah, they're owned by the
Huh.
same people. So you can get a membership where you have access to all three. So
Nice.
during the week, I go to Worthington Pro, which is just like around the corner from my facility, and then on the weekends I go to the Armory because it's like 2 minutes from my apartment. So
There we go. Hell yeah. So with the with Worthington Pro, I haven't been there for a few years. I know they have some machines, but are you mostly hitting like barbells and dumbbells and compounds there, and then splitting it up, hitting some machines at the Armory?
yeah, so that was another thing was I felt like I was getting a little comfortable with my training as far as like
Mm-hmm.
machine goes. So when I was at Metro, like it's easier to just slide into a machine, load up some plates, and do your thing. But
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to a little bit more of like I would call it like a powerlifting style gym,
Yeah.
where it forces you to have to use barbells, dumbbells, cables here and there, but for the most part, you're using barbells and dumbbells. And I mean, it's it's not bad because what I do is during the week I'll go arms, back, and then shoulders
Mm-hmm.
um, at Worthington Pro, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can pretty much accomplish everything I need to with those body parts with barbells and
Mm-hmm.
dumbbells. And then on the weekends I'll go to the Armory and I'll do chest and legs because I want to have a good squat machine, good chest press, that type of stuff.
Definitely, definitely. Nice. Yeah, that's a good setup, dude. And like the gym that I have been a member at in Indy, has a couple locations. So I like it, dude. Like not everyone
Hmm.
has the same equipment. It's nice to like have a different change of environment, different people. There's definitely like some of those gyms, and it's probably the same way with the setup that you have as well with having multiple gyms. Like one of them is maybe more like bodybuilder specific. One of them there's
Hmm.
like a lot of people that are just kind of general fitness. Another
Hmm.
one that's like I'd say a little bit more like weightlifting and powerlifting friendly. So yeah, you get a little bit of everything, and it just keeps it fresh. If you can have a gym membership like that, I think it's nice.
Hmm. Yeah, it's pretty crazy too, because like during the week when I'm at Worthington Pro, I'm like the only person there that probably doesn't power lift. It's
Yeah,
hilarious. Like there's like,
Worthington Pros. Would you say it's? I mean, I think it's the powerlifting gym from that. Then again, I don't live in Columbus, but like it's up there,
I
right?
mean, I mean now, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's
yeah.
weird, man. Columbus has been through so many different like gyms that were like the gym, right? Don't you
Hmm.
feel like that?
Oh yeah, and that's another thing. Like I've had memberships at like the Power Shacks or the Pros Gym, So I always just get the month to month stuff. I was like, yeah, you're gonna
Yeah.
pay a little extra, but whatever. Um, because guess what? If you get sick of that gym, you can just switch it up for a month and then come back later.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
every there's so many good gyms in Columbus, it's insane.
Yeah, I might have to check out the Armory. I mean, I know that one can be busy, especially because C-Bum went there last year. But
Hmm.
man, I do need to check it out because I haven't been there. But I'm trying to figure out where I'm training at the Arnold. I might do. Man, it's tough. It's tough to beat Beyond Limits because you can go at any time.
Hmm.
You can shower there and then head over to the expo. So like when I'm working at the booth, it's just so convenient. So I
Yeah.
might do that, even though Beyond Limits kind of
I will say, even though it's a little bit out of the way, Worthington Pro like has some
they have showers.
crazy. They do, but they have some
Oh
crazy
shit.
lighting.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
we go. Dude, I'm kind of getting fat now. I'm starting to put fat back on after the show. I'm like, I came in tough taking pictures. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I'm the lightest I've been in 3 years.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Do you want to talk about because I know you kind of had some goals shifting. You look like you're still training hard. Do you want to talk about it? Get into it real quick?
Yeah, we can touch on it a little bit.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
the goals shifted a bit for you. Tell them about it.
yeah. So basically, um, it was right after Christmas. I was having just like some irregular heartbeat stuff. It was just kind of weird, but I was like, it could just be anxiety or whatever. Like, I don't know. And it would happen for like, 5, 10 minutes, and then it would go away. It would, speed up for a little bit. But again, I'm just like, you're probably just in your own head. Um,
Hmm.
and at this time, I was probably like 210 ish, somewhere in that
Hmm.
range. Um, so not super heavy. Like I was heavier, but not super heavy for me. Um, and then I had one day where I was going to go into work, and it happened, but it wouldn't stop. And it went on for like an hour and a half.
What did that feel like?
It's just like how when you do like a really crazy set of squats or something and you can like kind of feel your heart beating. It's like
Hmm.
that, but there's no rhythm to it. So it's like
Okay.
it'll be like doom doom, and then it'll be like doom doom, like it just
Really?
it's
Oof.
all over the place. Yeah.
That's
So
kind of scary.
yeah, and like it doesn't like hurt or anything like that. It's just like, man, like that's not right. Like
Yeah.
whatever. And so I went in, and well, I was on my way to work actually, and I was like, I can either turn right and go to work, or I can turn left and go to the hospital and just get this checked out, because at the worst, like, maybe I have something, but at the best case scenario, then maybe it's just my anxiety and we got it figured out. Um,
Hmm.
so it was just one of those things where I ended up going in. They just took a little monitor thing, just taped me up a little bit, and yeah, they were like, "You have AFib." And basically, with your case, what it probably is you've just had sleep apnea much longer than what you probably anticipated. Um,
Hmm.
so, and I've been on a CPAP for like a year now, somewhere around there.
Right.
And at one point I was having a little bit of high blood pressure issues, and that's kind of what the cause was.
Hmm.
But basically, they were just like, some people get it, some people don't. Typically, obviously, it's not in somebody your age, but um, without diving too deep into it, I kind of wonder if it has to do with some stuff that happened in 2020. Um,
Huh.
but I have no idea. So they were just like, you can continue to bodybuild if you want. It's not necessarily gonna hurt, but we can't say that it's gonna be the right thing to do either. And I just kind of had to sit down and have a talk with my family, and then obviously in the long run, just like really making sure it was what I wanted to do, and
Hmm.
just being like, even if they don't think it's gonna hurt it, like if there's even a small chance that it'll make it worse, I don't like my health's not worth that. Like
Right.
getting on stage is not worth that. Like I can look super good without getting on stage. I can still train my ass off in the gym. I can do, everything that I still want to do without taking it to those extremes. So,
Yeah.
and they even said, they're like, yeah, bodybuilding didn't cause this. Like, it's just kind of your bad luck. Like, it's
Right.
probably just a genetic thing, and, short end of the stick. But, yeah, so it was just like, that's kind of what it is. And obviously it sucks. Like, I've
Yeah.
had some shows lined up for this year. I was
Hmm.
gonna compete in like June, but just like, to me, not worth it. And now I'm just kind of taking all that energy and putting it into my businesses and doing everything outside of that. So just
Hell yeah,
kind of
dude.
kind of a pivot, kind of a shift, but it's necessary. And I think honestly, in the long run, I'll probably be happier. So
Right. Man, you think about like all the different deaths you've seen in bodybuilding. You just wonder like how many times did they have a circumstance like that or a scenario like that where it's like, hey, like something was a little off. I went and checked it out and I just kept going. And that's what
mm,
ended up killing the person.
mm,
So, man, it's like at the end of the day, like you said, there's a lot more things you could put energy into. You still can scratch that itch of training hard, dieting down, and looking shredded. And man, like I feel like you've been, like you said, you're the lightest you've been. I feel like your physique is looking great, man. So it's a
appreciate it.
pivot, but it's a pivot in a good direction. So,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
yeah, just good to hear that there's people out there being health conscious and kind of keep in perspective because you can still make it in the fitness industry and have a great um, experience without
Mhm.
having to compete. Like it's not super contingent on competing.
Yeah,
So yeah, dude,
exactly.
that's good. Good to hear that you are you're doing fine. Do you have to do any like daily medication or are you just pretty much
Yeah, so they have me on just a daily medication, and basically it just kind of keeps things in rhythm, and it's also just
mm-hmm.
like a very mild blood pressure thing.
Yep.
I do have like a follow up coming up. I think it's in May, where they're gonna have me wear just like a small little heart monitor that's like the size of my AirPods case.
Mm-hmm.
But they're gonna have me do that for like 2 weeks just to kind of see where things are at. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's not something that'll ever really go away, but it's just you just got to be conscious of it. That's all.
Yeah, I got you, dude. Well, with that being said, you ready to get into these Arnold predictions?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Let's do it. Let's get that screen up. Get the competitors list as well as 2024 and the past champions, all from the Arnold Sports uh, website itself. And I'll say, man, I know we talked about going to the show. We went to the show last year. It's
Hmm.
a tough sell when you got this nice website. Like this website is so much better than the Olympias, in my opinion, because they
Oh
have the
yeah.
live stream that's free, which is
Hmm.
crazy. Man, the live stream was good. I don't know. Did you catch any of the live stream in the past years?
Yeah, a little bit. I know what year was that when we went to Vegas?
Um, yeah, their live stream that we paid like $80 for in
Yeah,
2022.
it was not great.
Yeah, and it's $80, which was tough. Like
Yeah.
the
So
Arnold, for everybody that's maybe hearing about it for the first time, you can just go to the Arnold Sports Festival website, and you'll see you know the live stream as like a button that'll be front and center. So yeah, definitely be checking this out. It's free over the weekends. At least I think it's free. It was in the past.
it was in
So
the past for sure.
yeah, it should be as well from everything that I've heard. I haven't heard different. So yeah, you can definitely be on the lookout. But I'm getting all the competitors or like maybe the most pertinent competitors' Instagrams pulled up here, and we'll take a look. But as we scan over this list of what is this, about 10 competitors or so, do you have any
Hmm.
names that particularly jump out at you as easy like winners or maybe some dark horses?
Um, I mean, the first couple that come to mind obviously are going to be Samson and Derek. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
it's much of a question that they're going to be the top two.
Mm-hmm.
After that is where it kind of gets a little dicey. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can make a pretty strong argument that Andrew is probably going to be third, but
Right.
also conditioning wise, he's kind of a question mark. And then my like main two dark horses would have to be actually three, if I'm being honest. James, just because this is his first prep with Boss of Outlaw, so
Mm-hmm.
it'll be interesting to see how he looks, and just because he's gigantic. And then Akeem, he's been looking really good, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like nobody even talks about him for some reason,
No, not at all.
which is crazy. And then obviously Carlos Thomas Jr., but
Mm-hmm.
we kind of don't know with him as well, just because he's been so hit or miss in the past.
Right. Definitely. Definitely with you there, man. Those are some of the names that I have been on my mind as well. So we will go ahead and I just want to give a quick scan of some of the competitors right here as well. Talk about them real quick before we go into our ratings. So I'll go ahead and continue to switch the screens that I'm sharing at here. Just a little bit of a process. Okay, we'll go for this one first. This is not going to be in any particular order. This is just the order I pulled them up at. So first we have Derek.
Hmm.
Is this a most recent one? Maybe 3 days ago.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see what Derek does. Of course, he has a new coach since Hani Rambod retired,
Hmm.
and name of his coach is escaping me right now.
Chris Aceto.
Chris Aceto. Yeah.
Yeah,
Duh. Yeah, I like the. Did you see the podcast that they did with Guy and Nick?
I haven't watched it yet. No.
Yeah, they were good on the Mutant in the Mouth podcast. He talks about like working with Chris, and Chris is on there as well. So yeah, I mean, it should be a great duo there. Like very solid package from what we're seeing.
Mhm.
And man, just Derek being an Olympia winner, he's got a ton of potential, and he's got that chip on his shoulder from losing to Samson, of course. So going to be cool to see those two go head to head.
For
Looks like he's
sure.
got a good crew of people around him too lately. He got Ramon Dino. What's he got? Matt Grego.
Mhm.
Yeah, good squad of people there training with him. So
Most
definitely will be
definitely.
cool to see Derek make a statement.
Yeah.
And we'll move it on to the next competitor that I had pulled up.
How old is he? Do you know?
He's like 31 or 32.
So he's still relatively young.
Yeah. Who do I have here? I think I tried to get Samson here. No, this got messed up, but I'll pull up Samson real quick. Recent Mr. Olympia. Samson has had quite the year. Man, looking at him on the Olympia stage, like just crazy. Dude is crazy.
Mhm.
You
I got
think
to
back
see.
to
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just gonna say I got to see him in person at the Detroit Pro last year.
Hmm.
He wasn't competing, but he was just there. He's ridiculous. He's so large.
Yeah.
It makes zero sense.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Like this is nuts. That is nuts. That was 2 days ago. So with Samson, it's just the improvement has not stopped. Like you think back to, I mean, there's a picture from him in 2014. I'm thinking
Yeah.
back to when he won the Arnold, and what was that, 22 maybe?
Yeah.
And it's just been nonstop improvement since. There's a week, just about a week out. Well, no, that'll be 2 weeks out for Samson. Um, but yeah, pretty nuts. Oh, I'm skipping posts and not within that post. Hold up. Yeah, there we go. It helps to learn how to navigate Instagram, but that's just an insane, insane shot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I feel like everyone is thinking, look at this guy, coached by his wife, which is pretty cool. Like, gonna be a great story there.
Yeah.
Go on
Absolutely.
to go on to our next competitor that I have here. Guy that has a lot of potential to mix things up,
Yeah.
Mr. Andrew
He's been
Jacked.
pretty quiet in this prep.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I guess we'll watch this real quick because I pulled this up a few days back, and I'm like, this is just nuts. This man is he's a different kind of breed here.
Yeah.
Just repping 405 on incline bench like that. But he seems like, as per usual, he's putting in the training effort. So let's see him hopefully get that conditioning on point, because like Samson, he's just one of these guys that has a crazy frame, crazy
Mhm.
amount of muscle. He looks like the Gimp from Pulp Fiction in this one, but we're not going to hold that against him here. Um, yeah, dude. Yeah, Andrew Jacked, I feel like definitely has top three potential,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be cool to see him continue to really achieve his potential.
Yeah.
Keep it moving here. Go ahead. We about to.
Realistically, he's one of those people that if he like pieces it all together, he could win the whole thing. But
Mm-hmm.
the more realistic thing is he's probably going to be second or third.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. And we'll just continue to see him kind of fill out his potential, hopefully, because I think he does have a big win in him, whether it be an Arnold or placing top competitor in the Olympia. This is a guy, I know you mentioned his name,
Hmm.
Carlos Thomas Jr., that is just once again built different. We still have yet to really see him kind of fully fulfill his potential, I think, as well. This probably
Hmm.
isn't a great example, but let's see. Do we have any good updates?
I think his coach puts him out more regularly
Oh,
than
really?
he does. Patrick
Gotcha.
Tour. So it'd be, I think it's Ptuor.
Oh, yeah, it's just Pitor.
Yeah.
What the
Maybe.
hell? I thought it was that too, honestly.
Unless he's got you blocked.
What if he blocked me? Honestly, I don't think I've ever really even looked at his page, so that'd be so
Probably
funny.
not. No. Yeah,
But
he might be tagged in one of Carlos's pictures.
true. Yeah, we'll try to hunt that down while we're talking about him. But man, it's pretty crazy to see this growth right here because same kind of scenario here. Someone who hasn't realized their potential quite yet, but he's a young guy, like low 30s as well.
Hmm.
Just a freaky. Like, look at those legs.
Yeah, he. It's kind of like a weird comparison, but like you know how Ramon Dino is like very limb dominant, like he just has
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous arms and ridiculous legs. That's kind of how I see Carlos. Is like he's got a good chest, like don't get me wrong, but like when you look at him, the first thing you look at are his legs and his arms. Like they're
Yeah.
just so standout body parts. Um,
Yeah, dude.
so I think really all he needs to do is just kind of fill in the gaps of his back, and then
Mm-hmm.
like we kind of said, just bring in the condition. But he's a
Yeah.
freak.
Yeah. I mean, look at that. Look at that progress and development since 2016, 2021. Like, lots more to
Yeah.
go. Long way he's come and lots more to go. So yeah, definitely going to be cool to see how he mixes up this lineup. I think that's really what I'm expecting to see Carlos do is just mix up the lineup more so than anything here.
Hmm.
Let me get back to the next one I had brought up here. And once again, no particular order. We have Sean Clarita working with
He,
Boss of Outlaws as well.
yeah, he's another one that I mean potentially could be a dark horse, but it's kind of hard to say just because frame wise he's so much smaller than everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very tough, man. Like, it's just got a crazy physique. But
Yeah.
in terms of just the overall like size factor, you do have guys that are just taller because Sean is, a shorter guy, and it's tough. Like, he definitely looks amazing. But in terms of comparing to other athletes, like remember when we saw him stood next to Rami years ago, it's just like, man, like
Yeah, he like
Sean might
goes
have
up to his
some.
armpit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Sean might have some better detail, but in terms of size, like that is a component that's weighed in as well. Man.
Yeah, like if you were to just show somebody a picture of him and be like, how much does he weigh? They'd be like, I don't know, like 240, 255, like somewhere in that
Mm-hmm.
range. And then you find out he's 180.
Yeah. I mean, this looks. Oh man, 4 days ago.
I know. It's nuts. It's so nuts.
Man, like the more and more I learn about Boss of Outlaw too, just the guy like to me really knows what he's doing, and he
Hmm.
actually has some like rationale that's grounded in
Yeah.
science, and he has like that perfect mix of like science and experience to me. So I
Yeah,
think that is, yeah,
he's got the
could be helpful.
educational background to go with it.
Right, exactly. And man, he's coaching like half these guys in the lineup. We'll keep it moving to the next page. Another competitor that has real potential to mix it up here. Bonac.
Did you watch the podcast of him and Fuad?
Yeah, I did, dude. I loved it. It was great. He has quite the life, man. Like, for those who haven't checked that podcast out, he mentioned, he really came from nothing, and in the sense that he like went to prison,
Like
like
stab somebody 32 times.
yeah, he came from the bottom, and look at this dude. Like, what did he win back in early 2020s, I want to say, or late 2010s?
Something like that. I think he's got a few Arnold wins. I think he's
Mm-hmm.
got like two or three.
Yeah, I remember he lost to Brandon Curry in 22,
Yeah,
or no, 20. What year was
20.
that? 2021? I don't know.
It was right around there, but I thought
Yeah.
that was questionable.
Yeah, that was very questionable. I'm trying to think what year that was. A few years back, it was him and Brandon, and it was like, wow, all right. So Bonac, I mean, he's getting older, and in that podcast, he even said he might be over his peak, but dude, he still looks amazing, and he has potential to win pro shows. So, going to be cool to see where he stacks up in that lineup. It's really hard to place Bonac here.
Hmm.
I'm interested to see where you put him. With that
Yeah.
being said, moving on. Brandon Curry, kind of similar circumstance here. Getting older, but
Hmm.
still looks great. And former Arnold winner, always has had a great showing at the Olympia. So it's one of these guys that, like we said, just has a real potential to mix up the lineup here.
He's working with a
Dude,
new coach too.
yeah, yeah. So like just a big mix and who's working with who this year. That's where it's going to be. We have these ideas based off of past performance, but half these guys are working with new coaches. So it's like, sometimes it's tough to peak people the first time around. They might miss a peak or, still be learning the athlete's body. So it's going to be really cool to see how that pans out as well. But dude, I love how Brandon Curry just has like the gray beard going. He's like, fuck yeah, I'm old. I'm owning it, bro. He's still
Yeah,
out here looking big as
accepting it.
fuck.
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy. Who else do we have here? Am I missing anybody else notable here on the lineup? Anyone that might be a big player? James Hollingshead. We'll show him real quick.
James. Yeah.
Yeah, get that one pulled up. And then we'll get into predictions because there's some other competitors as well that might be a little less likely to mix up the lineup. So we'll show
Yeah.
James because I
At
know
least in
we're
that
both.
like top six. Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're both fans of James, so we'll get him up. I guess he hasn't been doing too many. Maybe here and there. I know he's been active on YouTube. A lot of training videos here. When was this? A day ago.
Yeah, I think that one, the actual update itself is old.
Yeah, the picture.
Hmm.
Yeah, so not many physique updates here for James. He's been doing a ton on YouTube. So if you're ever interested, check out the YouTube. I guess this is probably a past. Yeah, this is a cool comparison right here. I mean, this is
Hmm.
probably what it'll be.
Yeah, that was him at the Arnold last year.
And man, he just like, I feel like he kind of missed the peak slightly last year. He was looking great at one point, and then maybe he faded or the abs started smoothing over.
Hmm. Yeah,
But hopefully they nail that.
he's got a kind of a unique case where he has shallow abs. So if he's not like
Mm-hmm.
full enough, it just looks flat. Which like
Right.
obviously you want a flat stomach, but you still want some lines to the point where you can see your abs popping out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not the best like genetic setup for his abs, but hopefully they do some things to kind of work through that as well as bringing up his strengths because he's got a ton of strengths as well.
Yeah,
So
he's
awesome.
another one with like just absolutely ridiculous legs.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get a doc going for our 2025 Arnold predictions.
What are we doing? Are we doing top six, top eight?
I'd be down for top six.
Okay. Yeah. I think after that it's kind of a shake up.
Yeah. So let me switch this tab. And I'll let you go. I'll let you go first. But can you see
All right.
the doctor?
Yeah.
There we go. Who you got in first place? I can pull up
Uh
the
so I can give
competitors
you
list as we go as well.
yeah, I can give you my top three right away. It's
Okay.
just gonna
Okay.
be Samson, Derek, and then Andrew. And
Well,
then
yeah.
and then
I'll do
after
that
that,
too.
yeah. And then after that is where it gets kind of shaky.
Okay, cool. So I'm on the same page as you there, man. I think everybody is pretty much thinking that same thing. We'll talk about it real quick, and then we'll bring up the competitor list so we can go from there. But man, in terms of can Samson be beaten? What's your answer to that question?
I think he can still be beaten, but I don't think that it's gonna be Derek.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're more likely to see either a revamped Hottie beat him at the Olympia,
Yeah.
or if Andrew, you know, comes into what we think he could be, then him. But
Right.
I don't know, and I don't know, this might just be my personal bias, but like Derek's upper body is so good that it just makes his lower body look not great, which is crazy because like he's got good legs and like peeled hamstrings and everything. But there's just like something about like it's so overwhelming compared to like, yeah, it's pretty good. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like a almost like a Nick Walker situation where it's like
Yeah.
when you look at him from the front, you're like, yeah, his legs are gigantic, but they're not, up to snuff with like in Nick's case, how Nick's got like freaking 25-inch arms, or with Derek because his lats and his shoulders are so wide, it just makes his legs look so much smaller than what they actually are. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's just like, I mean, I don't know what you could do for that other than to just like not train those particular muscle groups for an extended period of time and just focus on the other stuff.
Dude,
But
I'll tell you, I'm really glad you brought that up actually, because I am going through that with my client Brandon, the one that you came and saw
yeah,
compete. And, very similar scenario, scaled down, of course. Upper body is super strong. I think, obviously, the way that he did with the classic, I think we're actually not going to put him in a classic show again. Just see how he does at like a regional or like a local, I should say, open or like a
mm-hmm,
bodybuilding category. But man, I think the way you can work on improving your legs, like you said, like do you just not train upper body as much? Do you allocate all that recoverability and volume towards your legs? Yes, partially, but I think it involves changing your training. And like that's a very hard thing to do. Like it's very man, it feels like you're kind of giving up control. It feels like you
mm-hmm,
are like, man, it's like I love training like this. Like, what do you mean I'm gonna switch it up? It's worked for me so well. But like, dude, we've had to rework Brandon's leg days so much because he was just such a like hinge type squatter from powerlifting.
mm-hmm,
Like his ass was, and his ass and hamstrings were fine, but the quads themselves, they never
right,
got that. So like we've switched it up and he'll do some like deep squats, sissy squats on a hack squat machine, like really trying to like focus on the stretch because just the typical stuff just it was helping, it was growing his legs, but it just wasn't growing them at the same pace. And I know we've talked about
mm-hmm,
leg training and how certain movements like that people might love don't necessarily contribute to quads. But dude,
mm-hmm,
I think Derek, I'm hoping that he eventually changes some things up with his leg training if he wants to bring them up, because I don't know if anybody's doing his program. It sounds like he is mostly just working with Chris Aceto for diet, but I think that could be an avenue for him to explore is like, how can I switch my leg days up, or how can I switch my program as a whole up to bring my legs up to the point where my upper body is?
mm-hmm. But it's also like with him as well, it seems like no matter what he does, like his upper body just wants to grow.
Yeah.
And it's like realistically, does it need to get any bigger? Probably
Mm-hmm.
not.
Right.
So it's like, how do you switch your training to the point where you're like, still obviously enjoyment is the main thing, but like when you're at that level, like realistically, that's your job. Like
Yeah.
if if you have to, take your foot off the gas of some upper body training and like not push to that point or whatever it may be, but like that I noticed that especially from last year to this year, like his upper body, like his legs grew. I don't think they got smaller, but
Right.
his upper body just grew so much more. Like
Yeah.
it's just like no matter what he does, his back just keeps getting bigger. And it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, your back's big enough. You don't need to make it any bigger. Like you're going to have the best back double in the show. You're gonna have the best
Right.
back lat. Don't like I don't know. It's a crazy situation because you're just like, yeah, we're gonna tell this guy who has won the Olympia and now he's placed third and he's also won a 212. Like, yeah, probably don't do that.
Yeah, it's tough.
Like, yeah.
Let me ask you this, because you bring up a great point in saying that that's Derek's job. Like at the end of the day, sponsors are probably how he makes the most of his money, but like bodybuilder is who you are. Like that's what people think about you and they want to see
Hmm.
you on stage. That's how you procure those contracts. The line between work and fun for bodybuilding, I imagine when it comes to the training part, is very, very hard. It's a very delicate line. So like
Hmm.
let's say for you, because I know the answer for me. If this were your job, if you were a full-time bodybuilder, would you be able to, like, let's say your coach says, hey, like, we're going to hit upper body once a week. We're going to hit legs 3 times a week. You're going to do 4 sessions. That's how it'll be, because we got to bring those legs up.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like that? Would you stick with that? Like, how hard would that be for you?
I mean, I think initially out of the gate, like that would suck. It'd be awful.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would also depend on the progress that I'm seeing.
Yeah, yeah,
Like if I'm
that's
seeing
true.
crazy progress to my legs and, placings are getting better or whatever it may be, then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
shit, man, winning feels pretty good.
Yeah, dude, this
But,
fucking sun.
but, if it was one of those things where, let's say you did that for a year and then nothing came out of it,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah,
where I'd be like, well, I mean, is that just kind of what it is? Like, this is just like my ceiling and I'm just gonna go back to doing it how I've always done it, or I don't know. That
yeah.
it's a difficult one to kind of dissect. What about you?
I mean, I probably wouldn't be able to do it, dude, because like I've come a long way in separating the emotion from, um, you know, like progress and like what's right for me. Like I was so like dead set on fucking making leg progress because it was like an insecurity for me that I was training through my hip injury and like prolonged how bad that was for 2 years. Like if I would have just taken like 6 months off of the training that I was doing and just done like leg extensions and other like little movements that wouldn't have stressed my hip, I could have been farther than where I am now. But separating the emotional like addiction that we have with training and like the feeling that that gives us and versus like what's really going to yield the best long-term results, it's very hard to do. So I probably wouldn't be able to do it now. I
Hmm.
might be able to because I'm just getting more and more mature over time, like, but yeah, it's tough,
Yeah,
very
it
tough.
it it'd definitely be like a dicey situation, and then
Mm-hmm.
especially to hear that from somebody who hasn't probably won quite what you've won would be even
Oh
harder.
yeah, it's like, how are you about to tell me,
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't
right?
know. That'd be difficult.
But Nick Walker, I think, is a good example of someone who's trying to, whether he's successful, we'll see, but he's trying to try new things, work with different coaches. And I mean, at the end of the day, all you can do is respect that. Like, hey, you're humble enough to keep learning. That's pretty cool. So hope it
Hmm.
works out for him.
Yeah. I would also say too, just to add to that, if it was a situation like a Derek or like a Nick, I would find a way to still do some of that training, but maybe have it like once every 10 days
Yeah, yeah.
or something like that. Because like again, like in Nick's case, bro doesn't need more arms. Like
Hmm.
you just don't. But obviously he likes training arms. So like
Right.
give him a sprinkle of it and
Yeah.
then, in another 10 days he's going to be like stoked to get back in there and do it again. But to like have an arm day every week, no,
Right.
no.
Right. Yeah.
Which like I know this
Yeah.
sounds crazy coming from us, but like, you know.
Well, that's kind of the thing, man. Like, this has been my point the whole time. Is like, you and me, we don't really have the best genetics. So we've really had to like
Mhm.
spend time actually figuring out what's going to help progress our physiques. And shit, man, we've never won a show.
Yeah.
We've never really done. I mean, you and I both brought some pretty cool physiques to fruition though. So like, I feel like that's the thing that you should look at with somebody that's, like, oh bro, like you're not a pro. Like you don't know everything. Obviously. That's why I think it's great to work with different people, like multiple
Mhm.
people, get multiple opinions. But at the same time, like I'm not gonna say like this is like a because I don't like him or because I think he's a bad coach, but like Milo Sarchev, we've talked about him. Like, dude has some interesting, questionable theories and techniques, and it's like, man, like why do you do that? Oh, because like I did it. But it's like, yes, you are a genetic elite, and
Mhm.
this other person's a genetic elite. But when it doesn't work for multiple athletes, it's like, how do we say that what you're doing is actually like a good approach? So I mean, I think like the more trial error and experimentation you can get is really what's going to get you to the
Mhm.
end. So
Yeah, no, and just to kind of piggyback off that really quick, one thing that I always like think about when I'm asking certain people for advice is like
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily like just for example, if you take like back training. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna ask somebody with a phenomenal back what they did for their back. Like if
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like if you ask Dorian Yates what he did for his back, it's probably not gonna work for you because his back blew up. Like
Mm-hmm.
clearly that was his strong suit, and clearly like as much as I'm sure what he did was like super smart and super calculated, like you don't have those genetics. But
Right.
what I will say is if you take somebody that had maybe a really shitty back and they made it an okay back, I would rather ask them what they did
Yeah. Yeah.
because clearly they didn't have that. Their lat didn't insert at their hip, and like just certain stuff like that where you're like, okay, like he obviously knew something because he didn't have shit and now he has something.
Right. For sure. For sure. Yeah, dude, that's a very good way to think about it. And I'd encourage everybody that's listening, if you're looking for coaching or looking to try to improve, like use that as a framework. Like someone who has, made progress and made substantial results out of like less of a starting point. It's not focusing on what the outliers are doing, focusing on what people that have come up a long way is like a
Yeah.
good way to think about it. So let's
Yeah.
knock these last three out here. This is going to be tough. So
Uh-huh.
we can go one by one here, but who do you have for four? And I won't keep flipping it around, but I'm doing this because we'll post it with the podcast promotion.
Hmm.
So who you got for four? I'm typing it in.
I'm gonna go Bonac.
Yeah, yeah. That's a
Yeah,
great pick, man. Man, when we think of just physique that had its kind of second coming, like Bonac looks great, dude.
he does. He does. Yeah, he's super complete. And then I don't know if you heard Stefan talking about him on the last podcast that they did with Fuad, but they were
Hmm.
saying like he put on like 40 pounds in like
What the
five
fuck?
in 5 months after like not training for a year.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, dude. Honestly, I think people should take more breaks. Like that shit can be good for you, especially when you're enhanced. Like
Yeah,
especially when you're enhanced. A little break, dude. Even taking like a week off if you're natural, like a week off every couple of months, shit will do wonders for you.
yeah, and
I'm
you're not
glad
going
to
to lose
see.
everything.
Yeah, man, exactly. It's going to do so much good for you. And I'm glad to see he's kind of had that second coming of his career because he had such a good career. And then it was almost like when he lost to Brandon and to Arnold, it was like, ooh, that was questionable. And he kind of fell
Hmm.
off a little bit. But now he's like back in action. And dude, he looks so good. So that's a very, very convincing fourth place. I am actually going to go the route of James Hollinghead in fourth. It's very hard for me because if we think about historically, James has not really lived up to my expectations, my hype for him. As much as we
Hmm.
all love James, he's probably like one of my favorite personalities in bodybuilding
Oh yeah.
ever. Um, but man, I feel like this prep has been locked. He's been, pretty productive and locked in for a few reasons. I'll say there's one thing that makes me really afraid about it is because he had it has to be stressful when you
The
like you
business.
said in the DMs, yeah, when you have a huge business shakeup, like it's a tough look. He basically moved and like uprooted his life to start a gym with JP, and they had the shed and what was it, the JP Shed gym?
Yeah,
Looked like an
something like that.
awesome gym. After a few months, they split ways. That's a stressful thing, man. And if there's one thing that I know, stress can really derail a prep.
Hmm.
But I think still he's had a lot of focus, and I think there's a sense of self belief in James that we haven't seen in a long time.
Hmm.
So I'm really rooting for him and hoping that this physique, because man, he's got so much. He's just got to put it
Hmm.
together, and I'm thinking that they'll be able to do that. So that's who I got for fourth.
Yeah, I got him in fifth.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that could be a flip flop for us then. Yeah.
yeah, kind of like you said, he. I think this will probably be his best look. If it isn't, I mean, there is that particular reason that I think could play a hand in it, and then
Hmm.
obviously this is his first prep with Boss of Outlaws, so we'll see. But
Yeah.
yeah, I personally, I think it'll be a really good look for him.
Yeah. I do, man. I'm really excited to see James' physique. Like either way, no matter what place he gets, I think this is almost like a second coming of his career too, man. Because I think
Hmm.
he's gonna get to the Olympia this year. Like,
I think
you
so
know,
too. Yeah,
yeah. I'm hoping he does well and doesn't get discouraged there.
yeah. So two things real quick. One, I was just thinking about this. Like, obviously, Boss of Outlaw is autistic, and so
Hmm.
like whenever they bring up how James prep is going, I'm always like, well, at least he's probably not gonna lie because like
Right.
he's just
Has he
he's
said anything? I'm like 2 episodes behind on the podcast.
they just said he's looking really good, and it'll just be
Yeah.
a thing of if they can bring the dryness that they need to with the fullness because
Right.
he's one of those physiques. If he's flat, it just doesn't materialize because his upper body looks so much smaller because he's got those crazy
Hmm.
legs.
Yeah.
But he seems to think that things are on the right track. So there's that. And then speaking of James going to the Olympia, I think he's doing Detroit too. So
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go to that actually. I want to see him in
Dude,
person.
yeah. What fucking weekend is that?
I think it's like 4 weeks after the Arnold.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, we should go.
Because I didn't go last year because that was like right when I was doing my licensing for Schwab, the 29th.
Hmm. Yeah,
Shit.
yeah. I went last year and I was in the second row. It was nuts.
Oh shit. Yeah, we might have to do that because yeah, that'll be big. That will be big. There's some other names that'll be going to Detroit as well, I'm sure.
Hmm.
We'll have to talk about that for sure. Alrighty. What do you got for 6? This is tough. This is so tough.
6. I'm actually gonna go Brandon.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go to. So let's go to 8 then. Let's go to
Okay,
8.
we can do that. We can do that.
I mean, I feel like real quick on Brandon, he's still a phenomenal bodybuilder, but like we talked about, just kind of over that peak. So,
Hmm.
dude, I think with this lineup, 6 is so respectable. Brandon
Oh yeah.
is like he very well. I think he'll make it to the Olympia if that's his goal. Like if he
Hmm.
doesn't want to retire, dude, he could make it. He
Yeah,
just gotta
for
get that
sure.
win. So, yeah,
For sure.
Brandon's looking great, and I think 6 is very realistic for him.
Hmm. Yeah, and then I mean I can give you 7 and 8 right away.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm gonna go Sean
Hmm.
in 7th, and then wild card will be Carlos.
Okay. So I was actually thinking the opposite for my 7 and 8, which I feel like probably. I'm gonna type it in so I don't forget. I think honestly, like when I think about it logically, um, Sean has a better chance of beating Carlos Thomas Jr. just from his track record. But Carlos Thomas Jr., man, he has that freak factor where if they do even if they don't land at 100%, I think
Hmm.
he's got Sean. It's really tough about where I think Sean is at in his career
Hmm.
because he also might be getting to that,
Yeah,
uh,
he's actually quite a bit older than what people think. I think he's like in his 40s.
he's like 42 from what I've heard. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
accurate, but yeah, like that being said, man, like they say, like man, a lot of the black bodybuilders, they just can continue to like look great and maintain their physique throughout like their 40s, bro. Like that's just is what it is. Like
Hmm.
they seem to outlast other bodybuilder races in terms of like keeping that muscularity
Hmm.
before it starts to have a different look, especially losing legs. We're starting to see it with Brandon and maybe Bonac a little bit,
Hmm.
but dude, their legs are still, so crazy.
Pretty nuts.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'll just pull up the screen one more time here for the recap. We'll post this as well as some of the clips for the podcast promo, I'm sure. But here are our picks for the 2025 Arnold. Pretty stoked about him. I mean, dude, pretty similar picks as always, just a few swapped here and there. So,
Hmm.
so I'm super excited for the Arnold. Hope everybody else is too. I'd be definitely interested to see everybody's top 8 in the YouTube comments because I feel like it's just always more fun when there's more participation. So we'll have you'll pop them down in YouTube, and if you're on Instagram checking out this clip, pop them down. Give me your top 8. It's going to be a
Yeah,
stacked line.
and like we said too, like after top 3. like it's really kind of a free for all. So
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, man. Well, I want to get you on with your Saturday night. It's getting to prime Saturday night hours, but I know you mentioned that you'll have a little setup at the Bullfrog Nutrition event. So tell the people where you're going to be on Thursday. What are the details? How can they support?
yeah, so it's just going to be right outside the shop of Bullfrog Nutrition in Worthington, Ohio. That'll be from 5 to 8. So there's going to be a bunch of different supplement booths there. I'll be there just because we actually share the same building. So we're just a couple stores down from there. And then I'll be handing out like shaker cups, t-shirts for Built by HL. And then there should be a ton of athletes there. Like I said, I know Guy's sister Nina is going to be there, Sergio Oliva Jr., Andrea Shaw, and there's a couple other really big names. I'd have to have the poster in front of me, but like 10 to 15, really high level athletes and, people that own some of those supplement companies. So a lot of fun. We'll be doing like a curl competition there as well, and giving out some gift cards for that. And yeah, man, really excited. Really looking forward to it.
Dude, I wish I could come, man. I'm working Thursday and then heading
Hmm.
over heading over to Columbus. But man, that's gonna be a great event. I really like sounds like there'll be some cool things to see. And if you're in town or if you're coming into town early, definitely go to Worthington. It's not far away from all the action. Go to see the Bullfrog. Bullfrog is a great company in itself. Like what's the guy's name? Pat. Every time I've interacted with him, it's been a great interaction, great brands that he supports, and go support Hunter as well. So if you're out there on Thursday, go support. If you'll be around for the weekend, go into the expo, come see your boy. I'll be at the Korea Pure booth. Don't know exactly where in the expo hall yet, but I'll post that whenever I get that information. And man, I'm looking forward to the weekend. So with that being said, Hunter, you got any closing notes for us?
Not really, man. I'm just super stoked, super excited. Like we talked about, this is one of the best weekends of the year. So I've been looking forward to this for months. So I'm just super
Yeah.
stoked.
Yeah, man. Me too. It's like I say it's like Christmas, Ohio State, Michigan, the Arnold, my top three
Hmm.
weekends of the year, or the top
Hmm.
three times of the year. So it's
Absolutely.
gonna be a banger. But Hunter, I appreciate you for popping on. Always love these predictions podcasts. Appreciate you
Absolutely.
all for listening. If you made it this far, go support Hunter. I've tagged his Instagram. I'll stop screen sharing there. Go check him out on Instagram. That's the handle. And go check me out on Instagram as well with my handle. If you're watching on YouTube, hit us with the subscribe and a like, all that shit. If you're on Spotify, feel free to like it, review it, whatever they do on Spotify, as well as Apple Podcasts. I know you can review on Apple Podcasts because I've done that before. So,
Hmm.
appreciate you all. And Hunter, I'll be seeing you soon, my man.
Sounds good, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir. See ya.